Hi, welcome to Raw Customs. I'm your host, Patrick Rapolo, and on this episode, I'm going to show you how to build Captain America chest armor out of EVA foam. Now, if you're not familiar with EVA foam, it's basically foam floorboards which can be found at Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, or sporting goods places, and it's absolutely great for building props. It's easily cut with a razor knife, and you can use a heat gun to heat it up and bend and mold it, and once it cools, it holds its shape. Now for this build, you'll also be needing a Dremel with this attachment here, which screws onto the end of your Dremel and allows you to set the depth of your bit. Alright, let's go ahead and get to the build. For this build, you're going to need 2 sheets of EVA foam, 2 straps with clips, button snaps, PLASTI dip, spray paint, a razor knife, as well as a glue gun, heat gun, and a Dremel with assorted bits, and a depth guide attachment. I started by making a paper pattern that was sized to fit me. Then cut the edges off the foam. It's important to keep all 4 edges square. Then the pattern was traced on. Using a square, I centered a star pattern into position and then traced it out. Using the star as a reference point, I used my speed square and a ruler to make reference points for my design. Once I lay out my reference points, I use a straight edge to basically connect the dots. I cut a curve in a scrap piece of foam to use as a guide to draw out my curved lines. Using a Dremel with a thin bit, the star was traced out. A ruler was used as a fence so I could keep the lines straight. I recommend taking your time here. It's important to know your start and stop points with your Dremel. I used the star as a guide for my diamond pattern. I lined up my fence along one edge of it and cut my first line. Then that line was used as a reference for the next line and continued on. This will ensure that the pattern is even. Once the first set of lines was complete, I used the other side of the star as a guide and repeated the same process. This is what gives you your diamond pattern. Then I switched to a larger sanding bit to Dremel out larger areas. Here I use the same foam that I used to mark the line as a guide for the router. Once I was finished with the Dremel, I cut out my pattern using a razor knife. Then I used dots to mark the spots that I wanted to make look like rivets. Using a sanding bit and the Dremel, I plunged straight down over each dot to achieve this effect. A heat gun was used to heat and bend the foam into its desired shape. I used a scrap piece of foam to glue the front and back together on one side. 2 dog collars with plastic snaps were used for the other side. After being cut to length, I marked and cut a hole in the foam. The strap was pushed through and then glued on the inside. Then the piece was covered with 2 coats of PLASTI dip and followed by a base coat of blue. The blue areas were taped off and then the silver and red paint was applied. Airbrush was then used to add detail to the chest armor. Here you can really see the difference the airbrush makes. Then I marked where the shoulder straps would come together. A DREMEL was then used to countersink 2 holes. A leather punch was used to punch out the center. And then a set of quick snap buttons were installed. And there you go, Captain America chest armor. Now I hope this video helps you out with your build and shows you the possibilities of using EVA foam. Now I am planning on building an entire Captain America costume, and I'll be posting each one of those videos as I finish each piece. Now if you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to leave a comment below. And as always guys, thanks for watching.